So in this video, we're going to be talking about Roman numerals, which is just another way of writing numbers. You're going to typically see this on objects that indicate any sort of time. So there are a lot of watches that'll use Roman numerals. Clocks that you see will use Roman numerals. The Super Bowl has Roman numerals, right? We have when we indicate what Super Bowl it is, we're using Roman numerals. Medications will have Roman numerals, particularly to indicate whether or not something is a controlled substance. So they're still used very much in the world today, okay? So let's just see what Roman numerals are. So first of all, we're gonna go up to 1,000, and you can do things like 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. So we don't usually do other decimals, but if you want 1.5, so 1/2 would be indicated with an SS, okay? The number 1, so I'm gonna actually write out the numbers so that it's clear which is which. So the number 1 would be 1. Okay, it would be an I. There are different ways of writing Roman numerals. This is the most common way. We see it as a capital I. Sometimes you'll see it as a small I instead of dots. It has like a line through the top. Okay. 2 would be an I together. 3, you would see 3 of them together. So it would be like 3 I's. And something about Roman numerals is that you never see more than 3 of the same letter in a row. Okay, so my computer crashed, so that's why you have these things that just appeared out of nowhere. So we left off saying that you would never see more than 3 letters in a row. So with 4, we're not going to write 4 I's. Instead, what we're going to do is write IV, okay? And the reason why we write IV is that 5 is represented by the letter V. And when you are going in ascending order, like this IV, the I is 1, and then the 5 is V, what you do is you subtract. When you're using the same letter, you would add. So I would be 1, 2 would be 1 plus 1, 3 is 1 plus 1 plus 1. And then once we get to 4, we're subtracting. So we go with the largest letter that we see. Then we do 5 minus 1 is 4. Then we have 5. Now 6, 7, and 8 would be VI, VII, and VIII. Now, once we get to 9, we can't do that anymore because we're not doing 5 and then 4 ones, because we already said you can only see 3 of the same letter at a time. So what we do is for 10, 10 is an X, okay, which means that 9 would be an IX. Okay. 11 would be XI. 12 would be XII. 13 would be XIII. 14, just so that you have it, would be 10. And then we can't have 4 I's, so we have to do 10 plus 4, and the plus 4 here's 4. So it's XIV, and we're going to do a whole bunch of practice with this. Okay. The next number that we get to that's represented with something other than X's, V's, or I's is 50. So 50 is represented with an L. 100 would be the next one. Sorry about that. So 100 is a C. Then we have 500. So 500 is a D. And then finally we can go up to 1,000. So 1,000 is an M. Okay. Okay, so let's just go over some of the basics and then we'll actually do some converting, okay? So first of all, we said one letter is not repeated more than 3 times in a row. Okay. The next thing is if the letters are in descending order, meaning you have a V and then an I, then you're adding. So 5 plus 1 is 6. VI would be 6. This is if the letters are in descending order. Now, if the letters are in ascending order, meaning they increase in value, then you add. Wait, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. If the letters are in descending order, then you're adding. If the letters are in ascending order, then you're subtracting. And you subtract the smaller from the larger. Okay, and when we say an ascending and descending, we mean here, these letters. So L, C, D, M would be ascending. M, D, C, L would be descending. So you can see here that an IV, okay, I comes before V in Roman numerals. So they are in ascending order, so you subtract the smaller from the larger. So we do 5 minus 1 and we get 4. Same thing with 9. I forgot the E here. So same thing with 9. You have 10 minus 1, okay? Because it's an ascending order, right? 1 comes before 10, so we subtract, okay? So let's just do, so also a note, 2 1/2. The way we would write this is 2 plus the 2 S's, right? So it's 1 plus 1 plus 1/2, okay? 8, well, 8, we could start with 5. So we start with the largest number that comes before it, right? So 5 is the largest one. And you say, am I going to be writing more than 3 of the same letter in a row? If you're not, then you're okay. So 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 8. 8 is 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And we're okay there. We get to 8, and we don't have to write more than 3 I's in a row. So we just say that that's 8, okay? Whereas if we did 9, well, the 5 comes first, but if we used the V, then we would have to write 4 I's. And we already know a letter is never repeated more than 3 times in a row. So that's when we go to the next letter that comes, and we use the subtraction, okay? So like 40, for example, if we start with 10, because that would be the lowest one that comes before it, okay? In order to write 40, you would have to do 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. That would require 4 X's. That's too many. So we have to go to the next one, which is 50. And what do we have to do to 50? We have to subtract 10 from it. So 40 would be written as XL, okay? Okay, 23. Let's take a look at 23. So 23, we're using a combination of these numbers to help us. So 20 is 10, right? The largest number before 20. So I'm going to star the ones that we care about. I'm actually going to, let's see if I could highlight it. So we care about the 1. That erased it. That was not smart. Let's highlight it. Okay, we care about the 1. We care about the 5. These are the ones, the letters that we're looking at here. 5, 1, 5, 10, 50, and then all 3 of these, 100, 500. I hope you enjoy my very straight lines here. And 1,000. So 20, in order to write 20, well, 10 is the largest that comes before 20. To get to 20, you only have to add 2 10s. So that's okay. So we're going to have an X followed by an X. Then we look at the 3. Well, 3 is 3 1s, and that's okay because we only have 3 letters. So it's X, I. And I like to put lines. Again, you'll see Roman numerals written in different ways. This is how I write them. Okay. Okay, let's do some more. Let's do 17. So 17, the number that comes before it of these that are highlighted is 10. Okay, 50 is too high, so it's 10. So 17 requires 1 10. We're okay with that. Then we have 7 left over. So we have a 5. That's okay. And then we only have 2 1s. So that's okay. X, V, I. Now, if we had 19, well, let's see what this looks like. We have a 10. That's the lowest one. And that's okay. 10 is okay. That's only 1 X. Now we're going to look at the 9. Well, a 9 would be 5 plus 4 1s, and that's too many. So instead, we have to do a 5. We have to do a 9. Right? Excuse me. We have to do a 9, right? So we have to go to the X and subtract 1 from it. So what we get for 19 is X, 1X. Because a V with 4 1s is too many. So instead, we jump back to the 10 and we're subtracting 1 from it. So this is 10 minus 1. Okay, this is like 5 minus 1. Let's actually write that in there. This is 5 minus 1. This is 10 minus 1. You didn't see that. 5 minus 1, 10 minus 1. Let's do 1,502. That's a nice huge one. So we have a 1,000 in here, so we're going to put in an M. So notice what we're doing. We're kind of going by digits, right? So we're starting with the first digit, you know, the one all the way to our left. That's a 1,000, so we have an M here. Then we have another 500, so 500 is a D. And then we have 2, and 2 is 2 I's. Okay, and you can, sometimes I'll leave out the lines, kind of depends. I'm more likely to write this as M, D, and then the 2 I's. Okay, so that's 1,502. If we do 89, for example, so 89, the lowest number less is 50, okay? And 50 is okay because 80 we get by doing 50 plus 3 10s. And that's okay because it's only 3 letters. So we're going to have an L, then 3 X's. And then we have an 89, right? So we have the 80. Now we need the 9. The 9 is IX. And notice it's okay to have the x's here, to have the extra x here. That's okay as long as it's not 3 in a row, okay? More than 3 in a row. So this is a fourth x, but it's not with the 3 in a row. Okay, and let's do one last one. Let's do 47. So 40, the lowest number less than that is 10, but that would require 4 x's, and we can't do 4 x's. So we're going to go up to 50, and 40 is 10 less than 50. So we're going to put an x first, and then an L. So notice here we would be subtracting because the x, the lower number is coming before the higher number. So it's XL. That gives us the 40. Then we need the 7. So 7 is 5 and 2 ones. And that's not more than 3 letters in a row. So we're okay. More than 3 of the same letter in a row. Okay. Okay, so let's go the other way. And let's just put this in here for some of the bigger ones. Okay. So this is 10 plus, and then we have 10 minus 1. This one is 10 plus 5 plus 1 plus 1. This one is 1,000 plus 500 plus 1 plus 1. This one is 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, and then we have a 10 minus 1 here. That's the 9. And here we have a 50 minus 10, that's the 40, plus 5 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so notice when the letters are going up in value, we subtract, okay, until they start going down. We know when to start subtracting because now they start going down again, right? So once they stop going up, we know we subtract. Okay, let's go the other way. Let's say that we have XC. So if we look at these, the X comes before the C, right? X is 10, C is 100. So because they're going up in value, we subtract. So this is 100 minus 10, or 90, okay? Because we're going up in value as we go left to right. Let's do L, X, X, V. Okay, so here, notice we're going down in value. The whole time we're going down. If the letters are going down, then you're adding. So this, L is 50. Then we have 2 10s. Then we have a 5. So this is 75. If we have M, X, D, so sometimes the letters are going down, sometimes they're going up, right? So here we notice that there's a 10 and then a 50. So what we do is we take this 10 and we're actually going to be subtracting it from 50. So we look at the letter directly before it once it goes up, okay? Once the numbers start going up. So we have a 1,000. And then I'm not sure if I said 50. If I said 50, I meant 500. So then we have a 500 here that comes after an X. So that tells us that we're going to subtract the X. So this is 1,000 and then plus 500. I didn't mean for this to be an X. I meant for this to be a C. So I'm going to change it to a C. Just so that we're dealing with typical numbers. So this is 500 minus 100. Okay, which is 1,000 plus 400 or 1,400. Okay, if that had been an XD, it would have been a 490. But that's not typically how we might write 490. So that's why I changed it. Okay, so let's do LXXIV. So here our numbers are going down, except when we get to the IV. So when we get to the IV, we say, okay, well, wait a second, all of a sudden we started going up. So we're going to take this I and we're going to subtract it from the V, okay? So we look and we say, we have to look and make sure that it's either always going down, and if it starts to go up, we have to see where it's starting to go up so that we know what to subtract. So we have a 50 here. We can keep adding the 20 plus the 20. And then we see the IV, and the IV is a 5 minus 1. So you're only subtracting what comes immediately before it. And what comes immediately before it is the I. So that's how we know that we're not doing 20 plus 20 plus 1 plus 5, because the fact that it goes up says we're not adding anymore. So that the subtracting is the letter that comes directly before it. So this gives us 74. Okay, and last one. CLXIX. Now, if we look at this, we say, okay, we're going down until we hit this X. So we hit this X, which is now going up again. So we know that we need to subtract the letter that comes directly before it, which is an I, okay? So we have 100 plus 50 plus 10, and instead of adding 1, we're going to add 10 minus 1. And notice how I'm putting that in parentheses. So we have 100 plus 50, which is 150, plus 10, which is 160, and then plus 9. So this is 169. Okay, and that's how you work with Roman numerals.